Okay, with Runaway Love and Don't Get Up, this is what I wanted to ask you, because you start doing a lot of sort of the spoken dialogue in the songs. And I was wondering, was that something from the live shows, or actually what it brought to mind for me initially was like Millie Jackson and that kind of thing?
Well, yeah. Well, I'll tell you what, Runaway Love was the first one.
Yeah.
And what happened was we were in the studio, and we're kind of taking a break, but, you know, when you're working with live musicians, you know, a break to them is just playing a groove or just, you know.
Just jamming.
So they started jamming.
Yeah.
And I just stepped up to the mic and I started talking about my ex-husband. Seriously.
Yeah.
I was just goofing, and they recorded it.
Oh, wow.
And nobody knew that we were even being recorded. We're like, oh, my God. And so after
and you were doing it while they were grooving.
Right.
Okay.
So it's just stuff that came off the top of my head, you know, talking about him.
Wow.
And so, you know, we're laughing, we're having a great time, and the engineer comes in, he goes, I just taped that, that's a hit record. And I'm like, you are not going to release that to the public. You can't.
Your whole life is in the eye.
Right. So he played it back, and we're like, oh, my God. And we were hysterical laughing. But we decided to keep it.
Wow.
And, you know, so we went in and we fixed up a few things, and basically we left the rap the way it was. I mean, it was just, you know.
So it was pretty much how you recorded it.
Exactly. Yes.
Wow.
Yeah.
When you were at Curtis, did you work much with Curtis himself, or?
Curtis and I did, you know...
The duet album, I know you guys did,
right. We did a couple of things together. We had, first we did a single, and then...
Between You,
yeah, right. And then we decided we would do an album together.
Yeah.
And we had one song called Rock You to Your Socks.
Oh, yeah, I like that one.
I love that song. I thought that was so cool.
I just got the CD recently.
Did you?
Yeah, I enjoyed it.
So, and, you know, we would see each other constantly, you know, at the offices and stuff. So I always enjoyed working with Curtis.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was a wonderful man.
Yeah, I was so sad when he passed away.
Yeah, very sad indeed.
I was wondering also on the, also on the If My Friends Could See Me album, you did Gypsy Lady and Broadway Gypsy Lady, and I was wondering, because I know Curtis had, like, I think back in the 50s or 60s, a song with the Impressions called Gypsy Woman.
Right.
And was that sort of an allusion to that? Or
well, you know, those were things that he wrote for the album.
Okay.
And, you know, maybe for him it was something that was related to, but at the time, you know, when I went in to do the songs, you know, I didn't even think about it that way. And of course, you know, Gypsy Woman was one of their biggest hits.
Yeah.
So, you know, after it was all over, it finally sunk in. Oh, gee, I wonder if there's a connection here. You know.
But still, we can say it was way before Crystal Waters.
Right.
Did you, I guess it was sort of something that evolved, obviously, because when you did the first album, it was sort of early on in the bang of disco and everything, and as the albums continued, I guess that kind of became your niche, the disco. I mean, it was still, you know, a variety of styles, but
right.
Was that something that you wanted to do? I mean, different artists have different feels. Some of the people who are known as disco veterans, they're great about it and they love it. Others, they think, you know, it's too pigeonholing. What was your thoughts on the whole thing?
Well, I'll tell you honestly, you know, I've always been one to go out dancing. I mean, I love dance music.
Yeah.
And disco, you know, to me, it was just another label for dance music, which, as far as I'm concerned, came from Motown and Buddha records, you know, back in the day. That was disco then.
Yeah.
You know, so I'm very pleased, you know, to be a part of that. I think, though, that there's a tendency in our business, as I guess with almost any other business, really. You know, you do one thing, and you got a label. Everybody's got to have that label.
Yeah.
You know?
Pressure.
And, you know, for the artist, it can be a little frustrating.
Yeah.
But I have no qualms in saying how wonderful this has been for me. You know, I have a wonderful family, and, you know, my home life is great. I'm very blessed. I've been very blessed to have been able to be involved in a business that I love, you know. So whether it's disco or dance or R&B or pop, I don't care what they call it.
Yeah.
As long as I can still get out there and do it.
Perform, yeah.
You know?
So what, I know that, okay, by the end of the 70s, Curtis was distributed by RSO.
Mm-hmm.
And then when RSO folded, from which I've heard pretty abruptly, I guess, it went over to Capitol.
Right.
So, was Curtis at that point, was it dissolved, or what exactly happened there?
You know, God, I don't remember all of it. But I know Curtis continued for a while.
Okay.
And then it became Curtis of Atlanta or something.
Okay.
But I wasn't really affiliated that much with it because I had decided, you know, with RSO folding and the business was starting to change and things were getting a little weird.
Yeah.
You know, for a while, I thought, you know, I think I might just stay home and raise my children.
Oh, yeah.
You know, so
how many
really...
kids do you have?
I have two.
Okay, cool.
I have a son who is a bass player.
Oh, wow.
And my daughter is a singer.
So you were already raising them while you were, you know, in the,
right,
the 70s
right.
and the recording and all
exactly.
that.
Exactly. I would tour on the weekends only, but I made a point of being at home during the week so I could be home when they got home from school and, you know, do all the mom stuff.
Yeah.
So that was important to me.
So would you say that, I guess the transition from RSO to Capitol, was that for better or worse, in your opinion? I mean, I wonder, too, because, you know, as I don't have the whole album, but I do have the Don't Come Crying to Me and I'll Keep on Loving You single. That I have, and it was a very different sound for you, and I was...
Right, it was a different sound, and I'll tell you, one of the things that that I think affected my decision to stop for a while was the fact that when we decided to do that particular album, Michael Gore and Dean Pitchford were asked to write and produce songs for this album. And I spent a month with Michael, so getting to know each other, that kind of thing, and he wrote some really fantastic songs for me.
Yeah.
And one of which, by the way...
All the Man That I Need.
Yeah. Was written about my husband and I.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Wow.
And...
so were you remarried at this point?
Yes.
Okay.
And Capitol decided that the songs were too white. You know, too pop. They just weren't, you know, which is what Michael Gore did. I mean, he had just finished doing the Fame soundtrack. He was very, very hot. He wrote some beautiful things, and I think we did a good job in the studio on this stuff. So that was kind of disappointing. I thought, well, what do you mean it's too pop? I mean, they're good songs, you know. But again, with labels, you know, when you deal with a specific group, and moving over to Capitol, they align themselves with the R&B department.
Right.
So, of course, if you're going to go with the R&B department, they don't want pop songs.
Right.
You know, they want R&B songs.
Funky, yeah.
So then they hired another producer, and we did some other stuff, and then they kind of mixed it all together and came out with the album.
Okay.
So that's why, you know, there were certain songs that sounded a little out of place, maybe.
Yeah.
But, you know, as a result, though, I did get to work with some really great people.
Cool. Yeah.
You know, so that was a good thing.
Actually, it reminded me when you mentioned the Fame soundtrack. I don't know if you have this. Another clip of you I have on video is you performing Red Light on Solid Gold.
Oh, jeez. Do you really?
Yeah.
Do you have any of the Midnight Special or rock concerts? Because I think I did Midnight Special 3. Well, I hosted it twice.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, so I think I did the show maybe 4 times.
Wow, yeah.
Yeah.
Some great people on there.
Yeah, they did. They really did. It was an awesome show.